G'day everyone and welcome to Waterworld. I'm your host Jarrod and here's my co-host Ethan.
Hi.
Ethan, we watched Waterworld. It's a movie from 1995, I believe. Yeah, I just got that wrong.
Yeah, sometime around there.
Anyway, the main star is Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner? Yeah. Kevin Costner is a movie star from the 90s, which I don't know why he's a movie star.
Yeah, well, like I said, you hadn't seen this movie before. I've watched it a few times.
I've seen bits.
Yeah, you've seen bits, but I've watched a few Kevin Costner movies from this era, like Waterworld, The Postman.
Does it get
some other
better?
ones. Well, that's what's confusing. Like, he's such a bland actor.
Why have you watched them?
Like, because they're like amazing. I mean, if you ever want to be bored out of your mind, you've got to watch The Postman.
Well, that sounds like a waste of time. I'm not going to do that anytime soon.
It's also another
No.
post-apocalyptic film
Yeah, but this was entertaining.
where he hates children. Yeah, well,
he
the
fucking
Waterworld,
hates kids. What's the
Waterworld
deal
is
with that?
like, I think it was a huge flop at the time. It was the most expensive movie up until that time. It was like $175 million.
Well, it's the most expensive movie till Titanic comes along.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I want to point out, if it wasn't for the whole budget fiasco and all that shit, it would still be a bad movie.
Oh yeah,
But it's kind of entertaining.
it's not. It is so bad it's good. It is.
Yeah.
It's a B movie that for some reason has $100 million budget
Yeah.
with A-star actors.
B movie with an A+ budget is just
Yeah.
very confusing. And well, you can see too, Kevin Costner seems to have a lot of power behind the scenes on this one.
I think he was a producer.
Yeah, because he chose the director. He chose like all this shit. He was also like one of the he was kind of like saying, "Oh, this is what I want." So he was essentially writing it. I think
Yeah.
he dictated most of his stuff to Joss Whedon, who was one of the writers. There were
I think
apparently
he came in at the end.
there were apparently like
mess.
30 writers.
But it's like this thing starts off, it's just meant to be a rip-off of Mad Max. Like,
Yes.
we've seen a dozen post-apocalyptic rip-offs of Mad Max, but for some reason they went, here's $100 million.
Yeah.
And as much money as you need.
It's big. Was he famous? He must have gone something.
He was already
big.
famous. Like, he'd been in The Bodyguard and Dances with Wolves.
So he was
things
hot.
Like that.
He was hot, and they gave him the money, and he said, "I want to make a Mad Max 2 ripoff," and they said, "Yeah, okay." I mean,
Where my expression never changes.
they are
and I speak at
unapologetic.
the same bland tone.
let's
the whole
be
way
frank.
through.
They are unapologetic about it being a ripoff of Mad Max 2. I mean, Mad Max.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
you look
And
it up
that's
on
cool.
Wikipedia, and it's like that's the first thing. It's like this was envisioned as a Mad Max ripoff.
And that's actually cool. In that sense, Mad Max, but with water covering the world, they did a pretty good job.
Well, it's like Mad Max 2. Doesn't it also, I think I don't know how much money that used, but it's like that seems like a much lower budget than Waterworld, but is much better.
Yeah, but this is why. Okay, Mad Max. The main difference between Mad Max and Waterworld, apart from the water, the actual world and
apart from the
everything,
water,
right?
Yeah.
One, the main actor sucks. Okay, that's the number one problem.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Even though they're both very similar characters, and there's like Mad Max and
anti-heroes.
Beyond what's the second one called?
Mad Max 2 Fury Road. I don't know.
No, that's like
that's
the
a
fourth
new
one.
one.
In the second one, he's like he comes in and he's Max and is this hero, and he's very stoic and he's strong and stuff. But
Well, he's an anti-hero.
yeah,
He's a reluctant
he's not an
hero.
anti-hero. Yeah, he's a reluctant hero.
Yeah.
But then in Waterworld, he is I think we called him like an RPG character. He is just a bland character insert.
He's bland to the point
what's
where
his
his
name?
name is.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a name. He's just the Marine.
The Mariner.
The Mariner.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He is just literally called the Mariner.
Yeah, and it really is. He's a bland RPG character that
Yeah.
you can fill with anything. He doesn't really emote much. He doesn't do.
I was
That's
thinking
that's
it reminded me a lot of the Twilight films, where you've got the main female character,
Christian Stewart.
yep, who is just like everyone complained that she's just this bland character with no emotions and stuff. Well, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner was doing the
There-
same thing in Waterworld.
There's
He's
a
just
big
this bland character.
No.
I mean,
There's a difference.
He
Though.
actually does stuff.
There's
obviously.
a difference.
Yeah,
I feel like Bella Swan's character was actually made for someone to envision themselves in that character's feet. Like,
Yeah.
it's meant to be the girls reading it and envision themselves in that. While with this one, you're not, like, Kevin Costner is bland. The character's not actually meant to be a character that you envision that you have gills and you swim underwater. No, he's just a bad actor. Okay? So that's the two big things that are missing from the Mad Max films that made Mad Max. Okay?
yeah.
First off, Mel Gibson playing Mad Max. If you put him in this role, 100 times better. Second off,
Better pacing.
Yeah, better
The
pacing.
movie is like 2.5.
Well,
Well, it
oh
feels
no,
like
no,
2.5
sorry.
hours. It's
Second
only
off,
2 hours, but
the problem is they don't keep a tone.
oh yeah, it's like, is it a comedy?
Mm.
Is this just a cheap action film? Because especially towards the end, when he's tearing through the super tanker, it feels like just like a generic action film.
And again, this isn't saying that Mad Max doesn't have lighter-hearted bits or dark, but it kind of all fits. That's the thing with the tone. It's like it's not saying that we can't have a horror or a dark scene and then
Yeah,
a comedy scene. It's just that it doesn't belong with the overall tone of the movie. That's the problem
and
with this film.
speaking of tones of the movie, so the message of the movie, right? So in the Mad Maxes, there's the whole, oh, yeah, maybe they overdid fossil fuels or something, but the whole end is kept kind of vague
Mhm.
about what happened to cause the apocalypse. So Waterworld ends with literally them shoving the Valdez right in your face. The whole oil crash sort of thing,
Yeah.
where it's like it's pollution's fault. Like they have the bad guys have a big picture of the captain of the Valdez, the ship that crashed and spilled all the oil and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like they're called the smokers, and they're the only ones who use petrol, and they run around smoking, like literally smoking everywhere.
Can
And
I point out
they
though?
only eat spam, even though they're on the ocean. Why aren't they eating fish? They only eat spam.
They are the most successful
Yeah,
by far. So I think they're doing something right.
it is yet another post-apocalyptic world where it's like the good guys have the shitty tiny little town and the bad guys have the giant community.
No, you know what? The little town thing, considering the fact there were meant to be lots of these little floating platoons,
yeah,
was pretty
okay,
good.
that wasn't too bad.
So we'll get to the movie. We start off, as all good movies start off, with our main character pissing into a can.
Yeah,
And then he's putting
it kind of sets you up for the rest of the
really
movie.
does.
Who watching that would think, you could just imagine like the first airing.
does that show you?
They see that and they're like, oh my god, we spent 175 million.
Who the fuck is this aimed for? Bear Grylls?
Maybe.
You know? Piss fans.
Yeah,
Piss
the
boys.
first 2 minutes
Pissy
is,
people.
maybe it's like it's to sell the whole idea of recycled water, because the whole 2 minutes of is him peeing into a jar, putting it into a machine, and then drinking it again.
So this is our first
That's the
show
movie.
of a thingy machine, and I do massive hyphens.
Oh yeah, his ship is a floating Ruth Goldberg machine. It's
Oh,
brilliant.
totally. There are so many things that do things and stuff that you pull and pulleys here that leverage this. It doesn't make, and it's like, how does this? Doesn't
He's
matter.
got a harpoon launcher. He's got like all the rigging set up to like go from different ropes that he can pull on.
If we put aside too, by the way, his superpowers, well, superpowers in this world, it doesn't make. I don't. Just his ship alone, he must be so crafty that you're like, we should hire this guy, right? Because everyone else's ships and everything are kind of basic. Well, this guy's.
yeah.
This is what I mean.
Well, that makes. what
Put
you're saying
aside
makes more
his other
sense.
abilities, he's
So,
also like a genius.
He is not just a mariner, like he's not just a boat person. He's also a mutant. So he can breathe. He's got little gills behind his ears, and he can breathe underwater. So you'd expect everyone he meets to be like, "That's a really handy adaptation.
Mm.
We should have you on our team. You know, why don't you stick around?" But instead, everyone is like terrified of mutants and wants to wipe them out.
Doesn't make much sense to me because
It
why
doesn't
wouldn't you
make any
why
sense
wouldn't
at
you
all.
keep him at all? I do not know. I don't know why they don't.
Yeah.
Because they could have explained it that maybe there was like a society of them like becoming like those evolved people and that they tried to like wipe out humans, maybe something like that. But
Yeah.
no, nothing at all. Nothing at all explained. He's just a mariner with these special abilities. So yeah, we have him peeing and then we have him going underwater for a while. Someone comes and steals some of his lemons. And this is an important thing. He went underwater because he was getting some dirt.
Yeah.
And that's why it took him so long.
So everyone in this world is obsessed with dirt because you need to grow things in.
Oh yeah,
right?
should we point out? Sorry, the world is covered in water and there's no land.
Literally no land.
Got to point that
Like,
out.
I don't know where all the extra water came from, but
Came
there's
from the-
literally no land.
The ice caps melted and apparently went over the whole Earth.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened.
I'm not sure how long the time gap between the end of the world and Waterworld is. I think it's like 400 years, maybe. Long
Yep.
enough that they've like forgotten everything, basically.
Yeah, they can't read. They can't.
So there's
Well,
just a few
no.
survivors on boats and stuff.
Long enough that they can't read and do certain things, but at the same time they have this floating thing. The gas.
It's been
boat.
400 years, but the super tanker's still floating around fine, but everything else is like sticks and shit.
Where are they getting the wood for the boats? Oh, I guess they'll just What?
Well, they're
No,
all old rusted
you know
tin
what?
things.
All this
Don't
shit.
overthink it. They
That's
obviously didn't.
that's the problem with this. It's like, at least with Mad Max's, like, let's just get this out. I mean, obviously, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
But
Mad
it's
Max
like,
World happens like a couple of decades.
yes,
Well, I mean, the
no,
first Mad Max is prior to the apocalypse.
years.
Yeah.
There's years difference, okay? And then the second thing is too, in the world of Mad Max, people can still like make things. You can
Yeah.
still have a refinery and make things. You can still cut down trees and do certain things, you
Mm.
know. But in
But
this
in
world,
Waterworld, there's like literally nothing but water, but there are these people who are still surviving okay.
you know what would
Well,
have
not
made
okay. Like they're barely surviving.
I would have been a lot happier if, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but if a lot of their stuff was made out of like coral, like something that you get
Where are
like,
they going to get the coral
I don't know,
from?
somehow they farm seaweed and turn it into a.
Well, I guess the first village he goes to is an atoll. So, I don't know, maybe there's coral around that.
But do you get what I mean? If they farm coral or seaweed or something and make it into like wood structure, you know, wood type, like it's a substitute to
Jared,
wood.
the budget was already
If they did-
$175 million. Could you imagine if they were like farming special seaweed
Dude, if
and
they just
coral
said
and
something
shit?
stupid like that, because it's like, what? Where's this wood? Where's this
Okay.
wood come from?
Yeah,
if it's been a few
Jared,
hundred
you
years.
gotta remember, this is like a crappy B movie, okay? I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know
they
why
don't-
you
they
think
don't
this
try
would be
to-
like a big release or
They
something.
don't fucking try and explain anything.
Yeah.
They really don't. So go with it. Just go with the world because it's stupid. All right.
Yeah.
So we have him straight away. Some asshole comes, steals his lemons, oranges.
Some sort of fruit.
There
yeah.
was some sort of fruit. So yeah, while he's getting dirt, comes up, basically screws that asshole over while they're being chased by some dudes.
Smokers. Or
Yeah.
maybe they were slavers at that point.
So he gets out and he goes to this town thing, the floating platoon.
Mhm.
Okay, this floating platoon is the reason why this movie also costs so much. I mean, there's a lot of other aspects to it why it costs so much, but this is one of the main reasons.
Because they've built a little village. It's Megaton from Fallout,
Yes.
basically, if you've played that game.
And instead of them deciding to do stuff CGI or maybe part things, you know, here and stuff there, or like a fake room here on
It
a
is
set,
an actual village.
they decided to build, yeah, but on water.
yeah.
they-
I mean, it's very impressive.
They decided to
I mean,
actually
the whole
do
movie
this.
has a lot of impressive stuff to look at.
It's off the coast of Hawaii, which they didn't bother to look at the weather
Yeah.
patterns, apparently. So that's like one of the main reasons they sunk.
At one point, the set fell into the water and collapsed.
Yeah, multiple people in this film in multiple points, from the stars to other actors, almost die.
I think
like-
Kevin Costner like ended up almost dying when he was strapped to the mast of his ship during a storm.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things where it's like, yeah, you almost killed people because you couldn't decide that, maybe this, let's face it, B-grade ripoff of Mad Max, maybe we shouldn't go all out on the one thing that everyone's going to be like, that doesn't make any sense anyway. Why
Yeah.
would you, out of all, this is the weirdest film. This is the most unnecessary thing, and this is the biggest thing that this film is known for, is the budget, and it's because they decided to build everything for real, and it doesn't make any sense anyway.
I mean, it looks cool.
It
I mean,
can't-
it looks
yeah.
cool. I like it. I like the sets. I like the stupid looking boats.
No, honestly,
Like, it
they
all
could
looks
have.
stupid as shit.
A
but
lot
it's
of this
fun.
though could have just been like fake set scene. They don't
Yeah.
need to build everything. Yeah, you can build certain bits, but everything is like, that's the whole point of movies, is that you can shoot a scene in this room, shoot a scene. Like normally we would be saying that this was really good, but no, this was a terrible decision. This was literally the worst thing they could do.
It is also one of the things I like most about the film,
Really?
is the crazy sets.
They had run from
So
one,
much effort to make this great.
but they made everything. That's what was
Yeah.
unnecessary. All the rooms were made. Everything was made. So like when they're shooting a
That's
scene,
why I say it feels like an RPG. It feels like you're playing this character and you can just walk and like go into their homes and rob them if you want. You know, it's
Well,
that kind of feeling.
what I mean is like really unnecessary. Is like they didn't just make some of the outside areas. They made like there's
Yeah,
rooms
yeah.
where they
The
go inside,
interiors.
right? Those interior rooms you could have just had on land. You know, you would have never known. No, you would have never known. Yet they were like, no, we're gonna.
Good
They did all this shit.
effort, Jared. It's called effort.
And it's a total waste
green
of time
screen stuff.
because it is entertaining, yes, and they get like a few points for it, like, yeah, good job, you did it. But honestly, what a waste of money! What a fucking waste of money! And that's what this film is known for. That's its biggest notoriety of it.
Massive loss of money.
Massive loss of money because they had to build it twice once it sunk, almost killing people. insane. This is insane.
It is
Can't
a
believe
lot
they
of fun.
did this.
Yeah. So
Imagine if they were doing the Titanic and they were like, "Let's remake everything.
let's rebuild the
Let's
actual ship.
rebuild it. Just go to where it sunk and make it sink again."
They did go to where it sunk.
Did they make it sink again in the Titanic
I don't
too?
know enough about the
I don't
Titanic.
know. You know what I'm worried about? Actually, I'm sure he's a water fan, so I'm sure he rebuilt a lot of stuff.
I have no idea.
Big ship fan,
Maybe.
that guy.
If he did, he probably did it at a set though, where it wasn't going to collapse into the water.
But wasn't going to kill your people.
I mean, it cost more than Waterworld, so
Yeah, but-
maybe it did.
But I think it made a bit of money.
I mean, he remade the Avatar world.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, and so we get to the platoon. We've just gone over the money.
The platoon.
Platoons, floating platoon. What?
The lagoon?
Lagoon?
I think it's a lagoon. He calls it a lagoon.
Anyway,
He gets to the little village.
so they won't let him in for some fucking reason. And
I think they're worried about slavers. Although
They
we
let one
find
in.
out that they've already got slavers in there who are like planning to take over.
yep.
Because
So
they're really on the ball.
this is when we find out that their biggest commodity is, or their most valuable commodity is dirt.
Oh, they love dirt.
Love dirt.
To an insane degree. Which is why it would make sense to want a mutant there who can breathe underwater, because he literally can just swim down and get dirt whenever he wants.
Forget it. Move on. It doesn't make
They're
any
willing
sense.
to trade people for dirt, like a jar of dirt.
So this jar of dirt, he comes up and he's like, "I have a jar of dirt," and they're like, "Ooh, look at, isn't there?"
They literally crowd around him and act like
before he
it's...
gets in, he's like, "I have a jar of dirt," and they're like, "Oh, we'll let him in then." But he also then reaches into the dirt, takes out a big handful, and then just drops it into the water,
Yeah.
saying, "Here's a jar of dirt." It's meant to be
Yeah, but
super
he doesn't
valuable.
care about it. To
Yeah,
him, it's like
true.
nothing. It's like, I can just swim down and get another jar of dirt. Why do I care about dirt?
That's true. That's true.
They're freaking out about it.
So they get inside, they crowd around him. One of them who's inspecting the dirt is doing it like it's cocaine. He's like, good dirt, good dirt. And it's like, what the fuck? They're also, by the way, they're turning, when people die, they turn them into like sludge sort of thing to,
Yeah, that
I think,
makes
grow
sense.
stuff.
I didn't
That
mind
made
that.
sense.
Yeah.
That made sense.
They recycle the bodies.
But they're really hot.
There's like a
dirt.
mangrove thing.
And at this point, we also find out that he goes to a bar to get a drink. He meets one of the gas people.
Yeah.
That's where we find our main female character with the female companion, the little girl who...
Yeah, there's a little girl with a weird tattoo on her back.
Yeah, and
the smokers, who are the main bad guys, they're looking for her.
So there's a myth about a girl with a tattoo on the back because that will lead them to land, right?
How did they know about the myth that
I
leads them
was
to
just
land?
gonna fucking say that.
Because it's
I
like a
was just gonna
6-year-old
say that.
girl. I mean, was as far as we know, the little girl just appeared at this place.
Yes.
At some point.
Okay, there are so many fucking problems with the little girl, the tattoo, and the land.
Can we just so
Can we leave that till late, or do you want to do it now?
Okay. So the little girl has the tattoo of land on her back, and what we find out at the end of the film is there is land, there is dry land, and it's like a mountain range or something.
Dude, no, there's a huge amount of land.
How
the fuck did anyone hit it?
What we know is that there was like 2 or 3 people on the island.
2,
They, for some reason, were dying.
right?
They tattooed not a map, but like coordinates in another language onto her back.
Hmm?
So it's basically impossible for people of this age to find it. And somehow they must have like put her in a boat or something and just floated her off.
Right. Okay.
And then she's drifted months and ended up at the lagoon. Is that where she turned
so
up?
if she drifted months, she would have died.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. First thing. So if she drifted months by herself, she would have died. So if she didn't drift months, that means they live really close to land.
Because when they find the land, they find her dead parents. So it's like, how did she get to the lagoon?
Yeah.
How did the smokers and everyone else find out that the map on her back that no one can read or understand
How do they know
leads
about
to
it?
dry land?
Yes. I think that's a myth everyone has. So everyone has this myth. So
But
someone spread the myth.
why are they? But they're deliberately looking in that area for the little girl.
Yes.
Like they're searching for her.
This
in
is
that
a
area.
Kevin Costner plot hole because it makes no fucking sense. Because it's like, if they're that close to where, like, let's be realistic, a baby being sent out in a raft, how long is it going to survive? Maybe a day, 2, a few days?
Well, I mean, Superman lasted, I don't know, years.
But it's like a few days, right? It's going to fucking die. So that means that the people who picked her up must only be like within a few days sail of this island.
Who picked her up though? How did she get to the lagoon?
This massive island, massive place,
right?
right, was within distance of these people by like 2 or 3 days, which you'd be like, oh, maybe they don't.
Well, we don't know exactly how long it took them to get there because it goes into like a montage.
Their
afterwards.
entire society rolls around people sailing the boats everywhere. Even Kevin Costner saying, oh, I've sailed everywhere. I've sailed everywhere. There is no land. I have really sailed everywhere. Well, how the fuck did you miss it?
Did they end up with the same problem that they had before? Like, it seems like the people on the land died because there was only like a couple of them.
No, 2.
But at the end of the film, there's what, 3 people on dry land?
Oh my god, I pointed that out. There's no way that they could sustain it. That's why when they blew up the smokers...
They've got the same problem as they did before. Like, maybe the Mariner leaves at the end was going to go and get more people.
That's what I said. I literally wrote that down. I said the only way that you can redeem this is if the Mariner said, oh, I'm going to go tell other people.
Or just pick up the people that dumped in the ocean.
But there are like all the smokers.
Not even the smokers. Remember how they've got friends that they left behind?
They just fucking leave everything. Doesn't make any sense. The land pisses me off because it makes no sense. It makes no sense that no one found it.
Yeah.
They're just nothing.
There's no reason that it hasn't been found. It's not like it's in a difficult area to navigate or something.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, this is just this is Kevin Costner. I think, honestly, the land shouldn't have been found. I preferred it when he was like, oh, there is no land. I just go underwater to pick up the dirt. That is a much better, sadder ending sort of thing.
Yeah.
Much better. Giving us this ending kind of wrecks the whole premise of the film. Actually, it does. It wrecks the entire premise of the film. Imagine Mad Max.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's Mad Max 2.
And you find out at the end there is a city of survivors where they're all normal.
And well, everything's great. Everything's green. Like, not just like there's a city of survivors or something.
But they've got like solar panels and shit.
But like everything's solar panels. Everyone's like drinking chai lattes. There's green grass everywhere. Like, that's the level that they walk into from this. From like desert to like green grass everywhere. Everyone's drinking chai lattes. They're like, Max, I'm so glad you could finally join us. No?
Yeah.
That's what this movie does. That's why they failed to do it. They shouldn't have had that stupid ending.
The dry land thing.
It fucks everything up. There are so many stupid questions.
Okay, you're thinking of it like a good movie, but this is just a generic B movie
with a huge budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other character they meet at the lagoon is it Gregor? Gregor the idiot? He is the guy who's like trying to find out about the old man, and he's trying to find out about dry land, and he's built himself a hot air balloon somehow.
No, it's a blimp, I think. I think this is hot air balloon blimp. My point is,
View to a Kill's ruined.
I know, right?
Hot air balloons for us.
That's 2 movies in a row.
I couldn't watch it without like just criticizing it. Like his whole plan is that he and the 2 women are going to like fly off to find dry land. Which, at that point, he has no idea where it is because he can't read
no one
the writing.
In 400 years, like, oh my god, I hate the land
because
thing so much.
Later on, he gets writing from the Mariner and he's able to decipher it and figure out its coordinates. But until that time, he has no idea where the dry land is. But his hot air balloon, it's got the big balloon bit, but then it's just got like a seat with like 2 shitty little seats that they can strap onto. And they're going to last for like who knows how long on that thing, apparently.
Look,
I just wish it was like a realistic, like even if it was just like a little thing that they're like, okay, we'll be able to survive on this for a couple of days.
Yeah,
like a little boat thing, not a seat strapped to other seats.
No. While he's at the place too, he does the whole exchange, meets the characters, and as he's walking off, what happens is these women,
we want
family,
your seed.
Yeah, they come and they try and grab his seed, so they really want to milk his cock dry.
Not plant seeds. Like they just want semen.
Or they just want him to fuck the daughter, and then he's like, how
because
much is
they're
the
worried
seed?
about the daughter becoming inbred, and I'm like, but there's more people on the place.
That was kind of funny because, as I said, I was like looking around. I'm like, I'm sorry, but the diversity in this crew is a bit too much to make me think that they're all related.
Yeah,
like that was so weird that they did that too. They were like, oh no, if she has like sex with someone,
did they want him to take her with?
No. It was
or it was just to sleep with him.
Just to sleep. So they want him to sleep with the daughter because they're saying that otherwise there's too much interbreeding on that lagoon, right? The only problem with this is this film hired a rather diverse cast for the lagoon. Rather diverse. Like clearly very different types of people. So you're looking at it and you're like, I don't think many of these people are related. Like there would be signs that they look
Yeah.
related. They would look similar,
Right.
right? They are all clearly quite different cultures and ethical backgrounds and everything, right?
Ethical
ethical,
backgrounds.
yeah. That was a slip up. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was so different. I'm like, I couldn't help but be like, oh come on, like
Yeah.
come on.
Anyway, he rejects it, obviously, because he's the stoic guy who doesn't want to talk to anyone. He's like, no, I don't want you, woman. I just want to get on my boat. It's his only love is his boat. It's the
Yeah.
only thing he'd ever have
He
sex
probably
with.
fucks the boat. He is like,
I would not be surprised.
he is object. Yeah, dude. If he's like, if they're going through his boat and they're like pressing panels and stuff, and there's just a hole.
He gets very angry when people touch his boat.
Yeah, because he's like, don't touch the hole. And what's his hole for? He's like, my dick. I fuck it. I fuck the ship.
Anyway, he gets on the boat, and of course, all the townspeople are freaking out. They're like, he didn't want to have sex with her. What's wrong
Yeah.
with him? Something's gotta be wrong.
I think someone grabs him and they
Yeah.
find gills.
One of the guards run up, grab him, realize he has gills, and they all freak out. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, it's someone who could breathe underwater and get us dirt. We better kill him."
Better kill him. So they decide to put him in a cage, but then this other
Well,
dude...
even some of the townspeople are like not as stupid. Like the sheriff guy comes over and is like, "What? Okay, we've got to arrest him now because he's killed someone. But why were you fighting with him in the first place?"
Yeah, so
It's
then...
like he wasn't causing any trouble.
was it like then some old dude just like, we will kill him?
Yeah, the town elders are like, "Yeah, no, we've got to kill him."
Yeah, so they decide to put him in this cage thing over the dead body goo thing. I don't
Yeah.
know, dead body goo. Ew.
Luckily,
gross.
luckily for the mariner, the smokers decide to attack.
Called again that show where you eat the goo, find out it's people. Soylent Green. That's what it was. It was green stuff. It's
I haven't watched
Soylent
that.
Green. I haven't watched that either. But I know that Soylent Green is people.
Right?
It's
kind
people!
of ruins it. I
I'm
guess.
sorry. I'm sorry.
But
The smokers luckily attack for him.
King Cooper himself,
King
leading them.
Cooper, the dude whose name I forgot.
Is it
He
Dennis
plays.
Hopper?
Yeah, no. That's
Hopper?
Mario.
No.
Is it? I don't know.
You're thinking of the other guy.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's
the guy who plays King Cooper in Mario World. In
Yeah.
Mario, the movie. Whatever that piece of shit
he is
movie
playing a fun character. The bad guys are fun in this
Yeah.
movie. I will say they're you can't take them seriously, even though they're killing people, because they're just joking about it the whole time.
That's why I wanted the
to
bad
be
guys
on
to win.
their team because they're charismatic, they're funny,
I'm
they
team
seem
bad
like
guy.
they're having fun.
Team bad guy over here.
All he wants to do is find dry land because they're running out of oil.
So they turn up with a array of ships. Honestly, pretty impressive.
They've got a ton of those water skis. They've got machine guns. They've got planes.
Everything.
Jack Black is a pilot.
They've got everything.
Great.
They're blowing it up. They're getting in. Of course, what happens to our main character is he thing gets hit down. But then the main chick and
The little girl help him escape. In return, he says, "Okay, I'll take you on a ship."
yeah,
Of course, he immediately
honestly-
tries to renege on it by leaving them behind, but
the
they
attack
manage to stay
scene.
on.
The attack scene when they attack the lagoon. It's quite
It's
intricate.
great. It's-
Intricate.
It's
Because they do
this beautifully choreographed battle. Like all the action scenes are really
They're
impressive.
really. This is the thing. Long ass movie. It's an action movie. Entertaining though,
Yeah.
because every action scene is different. That's the key to making action entertaining.
The action is fun. The bad guys are fun. Whenever there isn't action or bad guys,
yeah,
there's there's big stretches of this film which are boring,
yeah.
which is the worst part. Like there's a middle half hour where nothing happens.
I will say though, the
It's
action's
just boring.
the action's pretty good. It's mainly because it's like we have multiple action scenes. I think we got so at the very start we have him just on a boat action scene, right? Then we have the lagoon action scene, which is on like the lagoon thing, right?
Yeah.
Then after that we have him and the airplane,
Yep.
and then after that we
The
have him
outpost.
and the outpost.
The ambush the outpost.
And then after that, we have him on the oil tanker. Oh, and we also do have one inside his boat. But do you see
with the pedophile.
with the pedophile?
Yeah.
But do you see what I mean by like each of those scenes are very different, and they try and do very different things with each of those.
the action never
scenes.
gets boring, is what
That's
you're saying.
what's
yeah?
entertaining because every
Because sometimes, especially in the B movies, where there's fight after fight after fight, it gets very boring. In this, it's like it's entertaining the whole way through.
it's because it's different every time. So
Yeah.
it was entertaining. So we'll go on with this first one in the lagoon. It's like for some, I mean, it's dumb, but they're like flying off ramps to get over the wall.
They're going under
Under
the
the
wall.
wall. Oh.
There's a kamikaze guy. They've got a giant
Oh.
machine gun thing set
Okay, the
up.
kamikaze guy. Right. Why wouldn't the kamikaze guy just jump off his boat?
I have no idea.
It's a boat. Just jump off.
Jarrod, there are a couple of things that like hold the movie back. Okay. But yeah. So obviously he escapes, and as he's escaping, he manages to drag the machine gun boat, and it shoots up the main bad guy, who ends up losing an eye.
Which, by the way, is miles away from our character, who is not meant the main bad guy.
Yeah, this is just he's such a badass. He like accidentally wounds the main bad guy and half his crew.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. This starts one of like the stranger parts of the movie.
No, it's great. This is one of the best parts of the
No,
movie.
after the fight.
Oh, okay.
So after the fight, they've gotten away. He didn't really want to take them, even though he'd agreed to. He tried to leave her behind, but then managed to jump on the boat just the last minute.
Yeah.
He does not want them on the boat.
No.
He makes that very clear, and his first course of action is to try and throw the little girl off. This is where you get the weird nudity scene and everything.
Yeah, so he tries to throw the little girl off, and
His
then...
whole thing is it's like, we don't really have enough food. I could get more food, but as we find out later, it's very easy for him to get food.
Honestly,
he just doesn't seem to want to.
Straight up,
he can't be bothered.
He's just an asshole.
He is a terrible person.
He is an asshole.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the probably the hardest things in this movie is like, despite how much we're told he's great and how good he is, he's not a good person.
He's a horrible person.
He's a horrible
He really
person.
is. Like, Mad Max is a better person.
He's not likable in any way.
You know what I mean? Mad Max is the sort of like reluctant hero you want. This guy isn't a hero.
Yeah.
This guy isn't
Mad
a
Max,
hero.
it's like he feels like he's like, oh, he's been beaten down. It's like deep down he is a good guy. Whereas with the Mariner, it's like deep down he's just a piece of shit.
Like, he threw the little girl off the boat at a
but
point.
that's not even delayed. Like I said, there's like a half hour where basically it's just him being really cruel to these two people.
Well, right now at this scene, though, we have our... Got the freaking name. Anyway.
Nora?
She is...
Nala?
She strips naked to barter with him with sex, okay?
Yeah, because he's like, we don't have enough food. I could get food, but I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to throw the little girl off and leave her in the middle of the ocean.
But she strips down naked and we get some nice butt shots of her. Except it's actually not her, it's a body double that she specifically chose. And there's a really weird story about the backs.
The whole thing is weird.
The whole thing, she wanted to
It's a very
see all her...
awkward scene.
She wanted the body doubles to look like her, so she watched them all.
She brought them into a trailer and examined their asses.
Yeah, that's specifically what she did. So yeah, the body doubles got a great butt. And yeah, moving on from there.
Yeah,
I think does he even have sex with her?
He sort of decides not to throw the little girl off.
But he doesn't have sex with her.
No.
Oh my
He
god.
doesn't have sex with
that's
anyone.
right. So she strips naked thinking that's going to convince him. He straight up doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
He starts
He
moving
just
around.
keeps trying to grab the little girl.
No. The little girl's gone under.
Yeah.
So what happened then? He goes around to do something else. Then I think she comes around to do... Then he...
That's when they get into the fight.
Yeah, well, not really a fight. He just pushes a thing that hits her in the face and knocks her unconscious.
She pulls a gun on him. He drops the one of the sails on her. Then he gets an oar because she's struggling in the sail, grabs an oar and just starts beating her.
He knocks her unconscious.
Yeah.
That can't be good for you.
And then he decides to just leave them. He just sort of gets bored. I don't know. Maybe he decides he's going to eat them later.
There's your hero, ladies and
we
gentlemen.
find out later it takes him 5 minutes to get enough food to feed them. If he wants to.
Yeah, no, he is an asshole.
Yeah.
There's nothing really redeeming about this guy until the end thing when he goes to save the girl. He's an asshole.
And I think that might just because he wanted land. I couldn't tell.
No, because he doesn't like the land. Remember, he leaves in the end because he's not made for land.
He sort of tries not to bond with the little girl. She draws with crayons over his ship, and maybe he sort of likes her.
I don't know.
Keeps threatening to punish her and stuff, and then he just throws her off the ship.
Oh my god!
He picks up the little girl and just throws her off the ship.
That's funny because
These might be out of order, but I don't care.
Okay. Yes.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. She's like, I'm not scared of you. And then he's like, okay. So he literally goes over to her after she says that, picks her up and throws her off the ship.
Yeah, she should be scared of him because
Yeah.
he is completely willing to let her die.
Oh yeah, no, he's trying to get her to die. To the point then that
The woman runs up and is like, "Oh, she can't swim," which
oh my
is a whole
god.
thing.
Everyone in the room watching the movie at that point, we all sighed and were like, what the fuck? What do you mean she can't
Well,
swim?
because she was born on dry land, she's unable to swim. Just like modern
How old
people.
was she when she was sent away?
Well,
in that little...
for example, I was born on dry land and I cannot swim, but
You
you
cannot.
weren't. You were born on a boat, which is why you can swim
Exactly.
quite well.
If I'm born
Yeah.
on a boat, you can swim. If you're born in the air, you can fly.
The whole thing is terrible.
It's so stupid that she can't
so
swim.
the woman ends up
Why would
jumping.
you teach her how to swim?
Eventually, I don't know.
The whole world
he
is
has a
covered in
change
water.
of heart or something, but he does go back for them before they die, but only just. Anyway, then he decides to sell them to a pedophile.
What about the bad guys for a second? We find out the bad guys, and our King Cooper dude, he lost an eye. We have a really weird comedy scene with him with the fake eye.
They are really entertaining.
Yeah, they are actually, honestly. They're the best part of the film.
Yeah.
We do have...
There's like a whole family of bad guys, and in this city ship thing.
Well, we have him checking the levels in the tanker, see how much fuel they have left, and they have a really bizarre thing.
That is the best joke in the whole movie.
Best
is that
thing in
there's
the
this
movie.
old guy who's like, it must be his punishment or something that is
Yes.
down in the tank and is leveling it off and is like, okay, there's only a little bit of oil left.
Yeah.
And
I
they're just
love
like,
him.
okay, and they just lock him back down there.
Yeah, well, actually, they spit on him first.
Yeah.
But has such a weird...
The best part of the film, right at the end, Kevin Costner blows up the ship by throwing a flare down into the oil. And just as the whole thing goes up, it just focuses on the old man. He's like, thank you. What is it? Thank God or something.
Yeah, I think it just says, oh, thank God.
Yeah. And it's just like, it is the funniest bit of the movie. It is so crazy.
Because that fits in perfectly. That's
Yeah.
the sort of thing that works. That worked.
The whole boring montage of him teaching the little girl to swim and stuff was just boring.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so actually what happens before the pedo guys, Jack Black.
There's more. Yeah, they get attacked. I mean, it's a really good action scene. All the action scenes are pretty
Jack
good.
Black's the guy flying the plane.
The ship gets beat up a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Pedo bit's way more interesting.
Yeah,
Pedos are always more interesting.
So there are other like boat people, and they've got
What were
like
they called?
They talk about there's a whole boat code and stuff,
Yeah.
and they've got to do trades and things.
So they meet this dude and he comes aboard and he's a bit weird and he wants to trade for food?
No, he wants the women. He wants to trade for the women.
That's right. Everything he's trading for our
He
main
wants
character,
to sleep with
Costner's,
the women.
but Costner's saying everything like that. He doesn't even want the trade.
No, he sort of does. He wants he in the end.
What do you want?
Kevin Costner the mariner is like, you can sleep with the older one
Yeah.
because he didn't have enough value to sleep with the little girl. So
What was he trading for again? Was it paper?
yeah, it was just some paper.
Just some paper. Okay.
Although we find out the mariner's got like a ton of paper and he can't read.
I
So,
don't know.
Whatever. Why is paper so valuable if they can't read or anything? Whatever.
I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Yeah, then when we get a really awkward scene where it's the little girl and Kevin Costner just up the top of the boat, just waiting. And you just hear these weird sounds coming from inside the ship, and it's just like the little girl looks scared, and Kevin Costner's just like, I don't care. I'm just reading my paper. Then, yeah, it's very dark because you're like, oh, is he just going to let that guy have sex with her?
Well,
Like, she didn't want it. Kevin Costner at this point is like brutalizing these people.
you know the only thing? I do feel like beforehand she was trying to offer herself for sex, right? To stay on the ship.
Yeah.
And now is when he's like, yeah, I need a trade. And she's like, well, I will. I thought she was with it.
No,
Wasn't
I don't
she?
think she was. She didn't want because Kevin's like because at one point the guy's like, oh, I want to have sex with the little girl.
Yeah, he's
and
not
Kevin
with that.
Costner's like he's considering it, and she's like,
Yeah.
no, please me before her, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it's a bit weird. It's all weird. He's
Again,
some kind of
he is-
weird.
You can't
why-
watch this and
why-
not go,
okay.
this is a terrible guy.
Does he pull a knife for something bad to happen? Because I didn't understand why then Kevin Costner reneged on the
I
deal
think
and came
maybe
down.
okay. This is the problem with Kevin Costner's right. Like, you can't read his
Because
face.
didn't he make
like
the-
I can't tell what he's thinking, right?
This is what-
So
okay.
maybe he had a change of heart, or he decided the paper wasn't worth it.
Okay.
Something changes, and he goes down and he confronts the pedophile guy.
Well, you know
Who's
the
this
thing though.
crazy Irish guy? We literally could not understand what he was saying.
This is the only. I know this is fucked up to defend this guy, but it's like, from his point of view, he's made a deal. You get the paper. I get to have sex with the girl.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the dynamics on Kevin Costner's ship, right?
Are you trying to defend the
So
pedophile?
no, not the pedophile bit. Just him having sex with a fully grown woman. Okay.
Okay.
When you think about it, he's made a transaction which is fine, right? Everyone in that deal has gone along with it, right?
Yeah,
and then
don't-
just as it's gonna happen, Kevin Costner comes down and stabs him.
No, he tells him to get off his boat. The crazy guy pulls the knife first.
Oh, okay, so the crazy guy does pull a knife. I
Yeah.
thought Kevin Costner just came down and killed him, which really just
He
makes him
comes
worse.
down and tells him to get off his ship.
Okay, I still think nearly all of this.
I don't
is,
know why
honestly,
he decided to do that, but he does.
Honestly, I think nearly all of this is Kevin Costner's character's fault.
Oh no, 100%.
I mean, I know this guy's scummy, and especially like a pedophile scummy for going for the little girl, but saying that he'll trade this for sex, and if someone's willing and going along with it too, that's not necessarily.
I don't think she was willing.
She was doing that before.
Not
That's
happy
why...
about it. She's basically a hostage
No, but she
in
goes
this
with it.
situation. Yeah, because if she doesn't, she's going to get thrown off the ship again. It's basically the same as in It's Always Sunny, where it's like Dennis is like, "Oh, you take him out on the ship," and they're not going to say no because of the implication.
Yeah, true.
Basically that.
I still think it's all.
It's you know what?
It's all Kevin
I bet
Costner's
he
fault.
came up with that while he was watching.
My point is,
Waterworld.
I think the problem is, my point is, like, as much as we're like saying this guy's scummy, Kevin Costner is definitely the scummier one because he's the one willing to force. Let's say, okay,
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not
if
disagreeing
she's not
with you.
willing to go along with it,
This is the worst part of the movie. It's like he's such an unlikable character.
I would say then he's forcing someone into prostitution, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying this other guy, technically, he doesn't know she's forced into prostitution at this point. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So really, Kevin Costner comes down and like,
okay,
fucks.
let's go past
Kevin
this, 'cause
Costner's
I
a
feel
piece of
this is
shit.
a bit weird. Yeah.
The marina is a piece of shit. That guy's a weird ass fucking pedophile. The marina though will literally set people up with a sex thing and then like stab them.
Yeah, well,
He's a
that was
terrible
nuts.
person.
That guy was nuts.
Oh,
Anyway.
everyone's
Anyway,
terrible because
Uh,
he's Irish.
crazy. Anyway, yeah, he ends up killing that guy, and
Who was a bad guy?
that's when she starts yelling at him about like, "What are we gonna eat? We need food. Where's my food?" Yeah, she screams it at him. So he's like, "Oh, you want food, do you?" Yes, they want food. They've been complaining about it for days that we know of. So
You know what,
yeah,
then get your own fucking ship.
well,
He didn't want you on it in the first place.
yeah, but they wanted to survive.
Go on someone else's ship.
There was literally no one else escaped.
There was. Yes, they did.
We know a couple of them. Okay, Gregor, the fucking idiot with the airship, accidentally sets off the airship and flies away without them because he's an
doesn't
idiot.
throw the rope properly to catch them.
And I think the sheriff and a couple of the good townspeople survive, but they escape in a little boat.
Should have escaped with them.
Yeah, most of them died. Anyway, so yeah, he just jumps into the water, and literally like 2 seconds later catches a gigantic. Apparently there are sea monsters everywhere now.
Yeah.
He blows up a sea monster, and it's like, yeah, they got a ton of fish. They got enough fish to feed like 100 people.
Village.
It took him like 2 seconds, and it didn't seem to phase him in the
He
slightest.
said it's really easy to do it. Yeah, once he does that.
Yeah, once he does that, you're like, but you've spent like the last hour fighting these two.
How
like,
terrible is he?
Threatening to kill these
How
women
terrible?
because you don't have enough food.
He is a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah.
He is the worst character.
You find out he could have gotten food at any time. He just didn't want to. He would rather kill a girl than spend 5 minutes getting food.
Well, so what's he done? He's tried to kill children. He's forced people into prostitution. He's knocked people out and shit like that for no reason. Like, just knocked them out for days. And he's withholds food for absolutely no fucking reason.
Yeah.
No reason.
Oh, and he still hasn't told them that the reason he found dirt was because he can just swim down to get dirt.
I think he tells them now.
Well, yeah, this is the point where it's like he does tell them, but she and the little girl think that he's been to dry land. Because where
Yes.
else are you going to get dirt from?
I don't know.
I gotta say, are they kind of dumb? Like she never puts two and two together. Like he can swim. Maybe he's swum to the bottom of the ground. Oh no. What it is that so his ship's full of like this weird like is basically Ariel from Mermaid. You know how she collects all the stuff from the surface. Like his ship is full of like little knickknacks and crap, like little toys. So they think he's actually been to dry land, where no, he's just swimming down and grabbing stuff.
So he takes her down in a diving bell, which was weird.
I actually like this bit. Like
So I like this because
it looks kind of cool because you what you find is there's a whole city under the ocean.
I
There's,
like
submarines
this
and stuff.
because at this point he's saying, no, there is no dry land. I get the dirt from the bottom.
Yeah.
And it wrecks her entire belief in there being dry land and everything. Really good.
Now, did
really
they build
good.
a giant underground city? Oh, that's a
But
bit.
how good is that, yeah? They leave it there. It's meant to be Detroit,
Makes sense.
I think. Wait, no. No, it's not. I can't remember what it's meant. Oh, well.
It doesn't really matter. It's just a generic underwater city.
So from that point, they get up and is the little girl taken?
I can't remember. It definitely speeds up from
The
this
little
point.
girl gets stolen, okay,
Yeah.
by the smokers. So they have to go. Oh yeah, actually, they have a weird.
They meet up with Gregor, the balloonist, and some of the survivors from the lagoon place.
They do also have a weird thing before this when they have a small confrontation where their main bad guy says, "Do you remember my face? Remember me? Because I've got this fake eye now because of you." But the weirdest thing about that is like
They've never met.
they've never met. Of course, he doesn't know you. He doesn't know you at all.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo. Anyway, so yes, they take the little girl. So of course he goes all suddenly super sane,
Yeah, he decides to go it alone, and he's going to go and rescue the little girl.
which he does because he manages to blow up the ship. Hey, really important thing on the ship.
The best part about this is you get to see more of the bad guys interacting, and they're just fun.
There's a weird thing on the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weird things. But one of the main weird things on the ship is that they drive beaten up V8 car around
The whole like smoker village makes no sense. Like apparently they've got like
while listening to Blues
hundreds
Brothers.
of containers of like cigarettes and spam, but at the same time everything looks like it's empty. There's nothing. It's just the hull of a ship.
What? You mean this movie doesn't make sense and has massive logical problems?
Yeah.
Well. Anyway, so he goes there, he manages to blow it up, get off the ship, saves the
Yeah,
girl.
there's a pretty cool action scene where he saves the girl.
Saves the girl. As he goes up to, by the way the main bad guys die is that they all have a jet ski and 3 jet skis hit into each other as they're trying to get the girl, but he grabs her and goes up at the last moment.
It's a
so they all
comedy bit.
fly into each other. I know, it's a comedy bit, but we had a huge pedophile scene.
Anyway,
We had all these.
the 3 or 4
I don't know what they're going for.
the 4 people on the
Blimp.
on the blimp end up traveling and getting to dry land somehow.
Yeah.
They find the kid's dead parents.
Yes.
And there's
they're, like,
literally it's
mummified.
literally the dead parents on the bed and like a tattoo equipment. So
Yeah.
you're like, this must be where she's from, and it's like, how has this happened?
How did any of this work?
Apparently
how-
dry land isn't good because you die there.
Dude, I don't know. But there's only like 3 of them anyway. How are they going to do this?
Anyway, so the mariner decides to leave.
Yeah, and he just leaves. It's
Yeah.
just so silly, the ending.
Well,
Hate
it's
the
like in
ending.
Mad Max where it's like, Max goes off to save everybody by sacrificing himself, except
The
completely
mariner
different.
just doesn't.
Yeah.
Crap ending. Entertaining movie.
I didn't think the ending was the bad part. I thought that was pretty entertaining as well because they get to this. Yeah, they just find like a giant island. It's like, where is everybody?
Yeah, but it wrecks the whole build up of like, oh, there is actually no dry land. I thought that was kind of entertaining, but then they do that. Nah.
Yeah.
So, Ethan, would you watch this movie?
I have. I've watched this movie
I know you
multiple
fucking-
times.
wait.
No, I'd recommend this because I've watched this multiple times. I
love that.
I think it's entertaining, at least for a single watch.
We finished this movie, like we finished the podcast. Would you recommend it? I've watched it. Well, we watched all
no,
of
but
these
I mean,
movies.
I've watched
I know.
this like multiple times.
So it is entertaining to
It
watch.
is bad. Like you can, and especially when you know, like it's a bad B movie, just because there's some dead bits in it where just nothing happens for like 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's acting is terrible.
I would say it's a bad B movie, but I would say it's an entertaining bad B movie with a budget of an A+ movie.
Yeah,
I don't know what an A+ movie is. That's such a thing, but
like a big blockbuster.
big
sort of thing.
blockbuster, you know? And it doesn't deserve it. Fair enough.
Doesn't deserve the budget. Yeah.
Does not deserve it. Thanks for listening to The End of the Reel. If you know anyone else who is a fan of good bad movies, share this podcast around to them. Sharing is the best way to help promote our podcast.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.